the park and when to cool out by the rivers. He schools me with knowledge itself, keeps me doing the right thing to protect his rep. And yo, even when I step through the shadows of the buildings in the project, I don't sweat it, because he got my back whenever suckers try to get in. So I'll definitely be living large until I'm out of here, and then I'll be chilling at his crib forever. Peace. If anyone asks, I'm from houses on hillsides, rivets and bridges, and a tunnel's stunned mouth. From tiny rivulets spilling into river's tray, or the spray behind the good ship Lollipop. From fragrant trees lining a double-wide Shadyside Boulevard, a group of students earning the steep grade of Mountain Avenue, or a back alley's cobblestone truth. I'm from snowcaps on city steps, and rock salt crunching underfoot. From ice flows in the Allegheny, mills along the Monongahela, or insolent islands in the Ohio. From behind Isley's deli counter, under the Kaufman's clock. I'm one of 57 varieties on a green pickle pen. I'm from falling water and rolling rock, from hoagies, pierogies, and chip-chopped ham. I'm from charred on the outside, but ruddy on the inside. From a fountain that billows at the confluence of dirty work, clean sweat, and hard desire. From inclined rails slanting above an abandoned warehouse and the creaking descent of a cabled car. From a furnace's 20-foot flames and a cauldron's white-hot hiss. I'm from triangular towers and plate glass cathedrals, from soot-staining 42 neo-Gothic stories and smoke stinging eyes downwind. From Penn's Woods and Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. I'm from a strong arm rifling balls from the right field wall, spittle jarred by a stiff tackle or a crust of blood on a busted lip. From the body of a rusted trolley car or a tugboat bullying a barge. From below a skull's hard hat and above a skeleton of girders. I'm from the bluff over the river, the gorge beneath the span, the mist off the lock and dam. I'm from a current coursing hard through the valley of the shadow of steel. There's a couple of themes that I think may run through my poems today. One of them is the city of Pittsburgh, where I'm from, and another one is the blues. And I think both of those merge in this particular poem. I lived for many years in Washington, D.C., for about 30 years actually, and I met a lot of really interesting people there, and one of them that I met was a poet by the name of Gaston Neal. And for whatever weird reason, there's quite a few people who have immigrated from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C., and Gaston was one of them. So being a poet and also being from Pittsburgh, he's a person that I kind of looked up to. So I have a series of poems named after days of the week. This is the Saturday poem. So I'm exiting the subway at DuPont Circle, headed towards the huddle of chess tables when I run into Gaston Neal, who is also a poet from Pittsburgh. He coughs as if trying to shake something. He's almost the same age as my father, and like him, a former junkie and thief. And he's hip in his dashiki and black turtleneck, his beret cocked at the coolest of angles. I tell him I've been rereading Sterling Brown, and Gaston starts telling me about him and Sterling getting drunk together, his sandpaper voice more raspy than usual. But I've already heard that story, and about Gaston being locked up in Ezra Pound's old room at St. Elizabeth's Mental Hospital, and John Coltrane driving Gaston to the hospital after a fight behind the Crawford Grill, and Gaston rapping to Langston Hughes on the phone at Owen Dotson's house in a thunderstorm. So I interrupt him and tell him my mom saw August Wilson on TV. And now Gaston says, man, one day me and Rob Penny was hanging in front of Eddie's restaurant. August had just quit high school to become a poet. He was inside writing and peeped us and came to ask us to let him hang because we was the hippest cats in the Hill District and poets the sides. And I know the restaurant because it's where I go to find my father every time I return to town. Now Gaston's hands are conducting the conversation and I can forget about playing any chess. He says, man, August bugged us so much finally. He said, okay, you can hang with us tomorrow. And August lit up like a fresh cigarette. Next day we roll up to Eddie's and August is waiting in a tweed sports coat with elbow patches, a pipe between his teeth. When we saw him, we fell down laughing. Gaston starts. and I coughing, and then coughs again, and I ask him, what's the latest from the doctor? But he doesn't answer. He just hacks and coughs as malignant cells zip through his arteries swiftly as cars around his circle. His scarred hands, which have pushed both pins and needles, are suddenly silent. The evening sun glows on the horizon like the tip of a cigarette about to burn out, and I embrace him. And for a few seconds, to a driver waiting at a traffic light, the two of us could be a father and son, saying hello or goodbye. All right. Do you guys mind if I read a love poem or two?
No.
Yeah.
Litany for a February day. Once, I might have dreamt of the swirling agates of your eyes, or the coal-colored corn silk of your hair, or even the velvet cushions of your lips. But as I become a more religious man, I supplicate silently for the soft halo of your hands. Not the way a kneeling nun recites a rosary for orphans in a favela, or a penitent priest invokes Our Father before his congregation, but how in mid-July, a pair of blue mittens plead from the darkness of a box to be filled from the inside. I wait for your hands like gallons of butter pecan frozen behind frosted glass, wait for the mouth that will melt it. Coil for them like spaghetti, coiling for the tines that will lift it onto the warm wonder of a tongue. I hunger for your right hand, small in the hollow of my back, your left hand blessing the blades of my shoulders. I crave each slender finger as a smoker's lips crave 10 naked newborns. My chest prays like a front yard under a heavy sweater of leaves, crying for the sweep of a rake to lay it bare and raise small hills. My face imagines your hands as a second-story window imagines the brush of airborne blossoms. My arms tingle for your fingertips the way a branch tingles under a caterpillar's feet. My legs pray for your palms as silk curtains drawn at night pray to be parted in the rising heat of morning. And what does it mean if my entire body dreams of nothing but falling asleep, dotted by your fingerprints like a leopard with 1,000 glowing spots? Waiting as blank paper awaits the kiss of the calligrapher's pen, as rainy windshields await the swish of wiper blades, as every morning those cups stacked high behind the counter at Starbucks become sinners at a revival, waiting to be made holy by your hands. This next poem is a poem that I wrote for one of my favorite singers. Her name is Cesaria Ever. I don't know if any of you ever heard of her, but somebody heard of Cesaria? Cesaria was from the Cape Verde Islands, which is a small archipelago of islands off the west coast of Africa. Mostly famous as the place where hurricanes that strike the east coast of the United States begin. But the Cape Verde Islands is the country that my grandfather immigrated, my grandfather and my grandmother on the other side came to the United States from. And Cesaria is sometimes compared to Billie Holiday, maybe. But her nickname was the Barefoot Diva because she always performed while wearing those shoes. So anyway, this is a poem that I wrote for Cesaria Ever. Seascape with vessel for Cesaria. Her voice calls in currents, her melody washing like incoming waves. Medleyed with a moving sun, her aria tracks the heart's arc. As all that would rise fear what falling may follow, she is careful, sings of descent first, is cautious with what she allows to be heard in the harmony. She knows the sea and the song of salt are composed in the same key, but still chooses to bathe in what the tide utters in the interim, word by rising word. Her voice is more searchlight than song, splashes the dunes with waves of something wilder than water. Her lyrics are a people's sighs medleyed with moonlight, a geyser like whales exhaling. Since tears also shine, What saline circles she's tasted sparkle like traces of grace in the foam swirling across what beaches she walks. And we wonder what price of translation she pays as she sings in a dress that is frayed and slowly utters every word by barefoot word. Okay, this is the Tuesday poem. Actually, no, I'm going to, I am going to read this poem. This poem makes a reference to John Coltrane by his middle name, which is William, and it also mentions one of my favorite John Coltrane compositions, which is a song called Lonnie's Lament. I think everything else is self-explanatory. For GS, only because it was a Thursday, which is her Monday, and she was walking as though carrying something heavy, albeit not in her hands. And I thought I heard her sigh and recalled Lonnie, who you may not know. Not Lonnie, who was always pawning his favorite bracelet so he could feed the penny slots, or Lonnie from the hill who always seemed to be half a slice short of a sandwich, but Lonnie from Lonnie's Lament. And here, she cocks her head and wrinkles her nose, saying, who? Because whatever blew his reins so sideways inspired John Williams to put a saxophone between his lips and blaze a lamentation which matches her Monday motion. A wistful grace, with piano lines almost lengthy as her legs and a bass line that plunges like her hair when she combs it into a black Niagara, which she doesn't know, makes me wish I could spend the rest of my days naked and trembling in a wooden barrel, falling forever through its obsidian mist. All right. So if I mention John Coltrane, of course I got to do Charlie Parker. Algorithm of the Blues. Ornithology revolves the room at 33 1/3 RPMs. Charlie Parker solos from the basement of a mood. Bird puts a hurtin' on each note, flattening them like bottle caps under the steel heel of his hunger. Slivers of wind slice through his lungs, invite our hearts to hear how the blues can make pain a philosophy. Bird understood the futility of words. That's why Charlie's tone is testimony, translating complicated phrases. Bird finds a phrase and fractures it, sharpens a splintered note into a needle, and plunges it into the bulging vein of his knee. Parker's pain is hypodermic. Bird is a junkie, people laugh, drowning in a bubbling spoon. But is the song over? Yardbird invites the heart to hear how the blues can make laughter a philosophy. He blows a light blue melody, unexpected as ketchup on cornflakes. Loops a line of funny chords, threads a silken solo through the eye of his need, trying to phrase a fluid tune so it solidifies into a salve. His hunger still bubbles, smack on a spoon. The horn keeps making its case to solve his cerulean mood, but the needle is stuck in a spiraling groove, and there's at least 12 bars welded across every door out of the basement of the blues. Okay, so we'll keep the progression moving. This poem comes out of one of those kind of maybe seminal events that I guess helped to form my aesthetic as a poet. I was reading a poem by Amiri Baraka, and I came across the phrase subterranean night-colored magi. And I was like, how the hell did you put those three words? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I knew what it meant. I didn't know what it meant. I mean, I did, you know, I kind of sort of, but like subterranean night-colored magi. I mean, it was just one of those things. It was, I thought it was an awesome phrase. So anyway, in a jazz kind of way, I guess, I decided to riff off of that phrase. So this is a poem. It's divided into 3 parts, and each one of them is a riff off of one of the words in the title. Subterranean, night-colored magi, 3 solos in the mode of Miles. Subterranean is underground, deep as a mine shaft. And Miles dug minor scales. Miles dug subtext like ore from the mother lode, unearthing indigo undersongs. Miles blew seismic solos on tectonic trumpet, riffing on Richter's scale, spelunking funky rhythms 7 steps deeper than the next cat, painting all up under the canvas, making it bleed all blues out the other side. Miles, the son of a dentist, doing root work with a hoodoo horn hollering but a bebop toast. He's beating wheat straw, Satchmo's son-in-law, a signifying junkie throwing the monkey off his back. He shined below the deck of the Titanic, blowing up his boilers. Miles could blue like bird and frank like train, early like bird and night like train, wing like bird and rail like a train, rumbling underground. Night color is black as 1,000,000 miles of fresh asphalt, and Miles was black and mysterious as floating smoke. Black and shiny as a new tire, dark as the sky round midnight. A black kettle stewing the bitch's brew. Miles was so black he was kind of blue. Miles slick as black ice, cool as black snow, sweet as black cherries on the downbeat, like a blackjack. A blackjack hammer, blackjack Johnson, blackjack of all trumpeting trades. Miles, the jack of spades, was our ace, because he played in the dark. From ink black, purple black, oil black, cinder black, coal black, ash black, to bottom of the whole black. His dark majesty shifting harmonic gears in a chromatic Ferrari, blowing modal moods with his black turn to the audience, speaking coolly in the colors of night. Magi are holy, hallowed as high priests, and Miles was the muted druid of the blues. Magus, asked the minders of the metronome. Miles is secular, they say. But ain't he a solo and sorcerer with ESP, testifying in the key of we? He's Magi Miles, conjuring styles, even sporting a tutu. His 5,280 feet traveling 1.6 sacred clicks. Moody as any monk, live and evil, blowing St. Louis blues, but in a silent way. His hallowed hands cast spells in lacquered brass, cast a net of swinging chords, cast milestones through the stained glass windows of jazz. Have mercy, he's Reverend Miles, making a joyful noise, rehearsing verses of his Sufi blues. Miles running the voodoo down in waves of magic majesty. And don't we wade still in that water, holy, dark, and deep, with miles to go before we sleep. With miles to go before we sleep.
Woohoo!
No, I was not. I got caught up. Yeah, she can read.
Yeah. Okay, one thing that Claudia did not mention is that I actually make my living playing poker in the casinos of Atlantic City. And so I have a few poems that reference or are kind of involved in that world. And if you play poker, you spend a lot of time losing. This is the nature of the game. And losing is not fun. There's definitely a relationship between losing and the blues. So anyway, this next poem kind of touches on some of those things. And I'm going to assume that everyone here knows who Charles Bukowski was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And if you don't, they invented this thing called Google. Check them out. So I have a series of poems that are called The Blank in You, and where blank is different things. And so anyway, this is The Bukowski in You. When the last pile of chips gets shipped the other way, when your wallet gapes like the mouth of a two-coated man prone on a park bench, what else is there to do but stagger out and return to the shadows of an empty womb, then curl up like the last macaroni stuck to a paper plate? You sense even the women cleaning under the tables and dumping the trash's last odors wouldn't sweep you into their dusty pans. The red deck, the blue deck, the shuffle machine, all make you feel like the darkness under the dealer's manicured nails. His Rolex stopped to watch. Damn, damn, damn. Everything you touch You can't remember what singing sounded like before the ace of hearts punctured your last lung. Can't feel your buddy tapping you on the shoulder asking, how much you down? You remember the elevator ride to your room, 39 floors of sunk stomach before the white scowl of a towel spread across the bathroom floor. Suppose you were nothing but a hand towel in a $49 motel. Suppose you lived to lick beads of brightness from a working girl's back, but all you had was parched lips and a swollen tongue. That's why whiskey clings to the bottle. Slight burn in the beginning, then oak smooth and polished as an expensive casket. That's why when the last car turns, whatever you hear sounds like a bullet. More so if you digging in moist earth. Even more so if you're not a gardener or a man in a straw hat wanding the beach for beeps. You're addicted to the dance of the blue deck, but also to the way the red deck parts like a pair of painted lips. You're addicted to knowing that even a gypsy psychic can't find your card first, no matter how far she follows a palm's rugged grooves like wood grain. You're addicted to knowing the cards love no one but the next hands that hold them. Is there anything sexier than the way desperation's dress hugs her hips? Anything sexier than putting it all in and having the moment Morse code through your veins? That's why you return. Why you cheese your chair to the table's edge and post a blind bet. Why you peel the corner of your hole cards like they're prosperity's last pair of good panties. This next poem is called Gamblers Anonymous. This is not about a man standing in front of a certain slot machine for hours, staring. This is not about the expressions of people seated or standing about. This is not about the balance of a woman dipping at the knees to serve a drink. This is about dark chocolate. This is not about music made by spinning reels or tinkling bells or a message that could be encoded in the flashing of the lights. This is not about the all-night party streamers of a waitress's hair or how much grace inflates the life wraps of her lips or any temptation in the tone of her skin. No, this is about a dark chocolate, about what could make it liquid in the mouth, about what taunts the eye on the frantic cab ride from the airport of possibility to the center of the city of sighs. This is not about a woman walking past and checking her side view mirror to see if he's watching. This isn't even about which candy he may or may not desire as he swipes his card in the register of longing. This is not about a bar. This is about dark chocolate, about how it melts and shimmers. This isn't about how the arrows of some eyes narrow if he doesn't speak, or the mariachi band of laughter from a certain set of lips when he does. This is not about a man standing in front of a bank of thieving machines, dreaming of symbols lining up on a reel, about a progressive jackpot. This is about dark chocolate. Not about smiling eyes through reclining eyelids or softly licking the lips afterwards. This is about what gets wagered on the tip of a tongue, about being lost in a bet. How I became a poet. At the age of 5, I saw words dancing like daffodils in a downpour, turning my heart like a lazy Susan. I could feel that iams were woolly but not white. And I knew that even inside nursery rhymes, there were waves of sheer darkness. At 13, I thought words mere vandals scrawling slogans on the walls of the world, even though some coiled inside me like cobras. At 18, I knew that when the heart sang, the mouth closed, since desire denied was my lone truth. At 25, I wondered if words could rise to greet us in the great beyond, the Holy One swimming around the head like heat. Was it true there was no notice in the mail to wait for, no permission to give or get? At 30, I wondered if it would be flagrant to listen for the fluttering wings of speech while silent walls surrounded. If outside these closed windows, other open windows. Then one Sunday afternoon, I was sitting at a chess table in DuPont Circle, locked into the logic of, if I do this and he does that, my opponent pointed westward down P Street, towards rapidly advancing rain clouds. He feared a dark menace moving into trench. But in a sudden summer storm, I saw black clouds billowing like dust behind charging knights. Heard in the call and response a flash and boom, a bishop blessing the communion between white openings and black endings. Baptized in a rain of revelations, cool against the skin as a quick wind, sending black ropes flying, I tasted a word's hidden tingle, and my new tongue unleashed like lightning across a blank page of startled sky. While we're on the subject of the blues. Diminuendo in blue. Brothers and sisters, today I'm reading a passage old as blue-green algae from chapter 107 of the Book of Ellington. How love can leave you at the crossroads, black as a blueberry, blue as a jay, with all your feathers in disarray. Don't you know, love can be the devil in a tight blue dress, eyes pretty as a bluefish, tongue poisonous as a puffin. Love can leave you sleeping in a doorway on the avenue, blue as 5 frostbitten fingers clinging to an empty bottle. Can I get a witness?
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, love can make you melancholy as a muted trumpet, emptier than a cloudless sky, colder than a Viking's eyes. Love can leave you strangled with a blue ribbon tangled in your beard. Can't you see through these shades of blue? Something stuck to your shoe, and it ain't money. There's a new moon rising. It'll leave you St. Louis blue, thin as bamboo in a leaky canoe. Love can leave you with a lead belly, blind as a lemon, howling like a wounded wolf. Do you hear me, brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I said love will tease you with a blade of bluegrass till you're hot under the cobalt cloud, then leave you with a blue chip on your shoulder and an indigo joke caught in your throat. Please hear this whole note coming out of the misty blue before you crumble like blue cheese. Love can hurt like a thumb screw, last longer than a tattoo, lock you into a rubber room with a view. Blue devils dancing in your brain, a blue heron flying through your veins. Love can make you sing the blues in 12 bars that all overcharge for the same cheap drinks. Raise your hand if you feel me tonight, brothers. Love can be a blue bottle fly flitting between purple and green. Wings raggedy as a pair of old jeans. Merci beaucoup. Love will have Winnie the Pooh doing voodoo and correct his shoes. It'll track through your bruised heart, leaving blueprints to disaster in the snowy parts. Love can be salty as cashews, crooked as corkscrews, bitchy as a blue crab, itchy as a new scab, and is scientifically proven to lower your IQ. The postman will tell you that love mails all of its letters with the postage due. Now let the church say, amen.
Amen.
Amen.